You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to, watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Well, in life, often things don't go the way we would like. Sometimes you're headed down the wrong path and you really don't think that there's any way to get on the right path. But the person you're about to hear from, well, he is living proof that no matter how bad things might appear to be, how hopeless your life might be, there is always hope, and there's always a chance of redemption, of turning your life around and being your best possible, your highest self. That's the way I try to lead my life. I'm not usually successful at it, but sometimes I get close enough that there's actually some satisfaction and the knowledge that no matter what, you can always do better. Person I'm talking about, Randy Gage. Randy, you are a true American success story, successful entrepreneur, philanthropist, best-selling author. You've spoken all over the world about your life. In your bio here, you were a teenage alcoholic, drug addict, wound up in jail for armed robbery at 15 years old, and yet you managed to prevail. Managed to turn your life around. What was the secret? What was the break that you so desperately needed that no one had given you up to then?
I guess the break I desperately needed was having somebody who believed in me more than I believed in myself. And in this case, it was a father of a girl I went to school with. She dated my best friend. And her dad was a teacher, and she told him, "Dad, Randy Gage is in jail. You have to go help him somehow." And one day the keys jangled and my cell door opened, and this guy walked in. I didn't know him from Adam. And he said, "You don't belong here. You're capable of great things." And I thought, obviously this guy's in the wrong cell. He doesn't know who he's talking to, right? And I told him, "No, what do you, and he was like, "No, I talked to your teachers. I read your transcripts. They tell me you skip school for 3-4 weeks in a row, and then you come in and you ace the test. Your reading comprehension level is beyond college. You don't belong here. You're capable of doing great things." And of course, at that point in my life, after all these horrible decisions that I've made, I was open to that message and desperately wanted to believe it. And because I believed it, it was true, right?
Well,
Fortunately, there was a public defender who believed in me and a judge who said, "Hey, let's give this kid probation and give him a second chance." And I got it.
Hey, so for so many people that never get that second chance, they don't believe that you can turn your life around. How do you get through to them? How do you make them believe that, like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can do it or you think you can't do it, either way, you're right?
You have to decide, am I going to be a victim or am I going to be a victor, right? I get that I was in jail for armed robbery and I got probation. There may be Black or Latino kids in LA or Liberty City or somewhere who get 7 years in prison for smoking dope or stealing a pair of tennis shoes, right? There are inequities in the system. There are people who get less breaks than other people. And, I had been on a string where I was not getting breaks, right? And I could have easily regressed and just said, "Woe is me." Or you believe, you just get up and you fight another day. And recognize that, okay, yeah, because I was this, middle child of a single mother who was raising 3 kids by herself, abject poverty. She was knocking on doors selling Avon to support us. So I didn't have breaks. I didn't have connections. I didn't have all that, right? But nobody does. We all, there are 2% who have everything gilded for them and they don't have to worry. But the rest of us, we are going to face situations and obstacles and challenges. And you can either become a victim and, I did that for a while. I was a professional victim, right? Or you finally decide, I'm tired of being a victim. I want to be a victor and I'm going to keep fighting until I win.
All right. So once you made the decision to be a victor, what was your first victory on your path to major success and being the person that you were meant to be?
I got a job in Howard Johnson's as a grill cook. Then Red Lobster opened up. I wanted to be a waiter because they made more money. So I lied about my age. I was 16, but I looked older. I kind of could grow a mustache almost when I was 16. So I told them I was 19 because they served alcohol and you had to be 18. And they hired me. And then because I had lied to Red Lobster about my age, I had to lie to Howard Johnson's about my age. And I worked really hard and they made me a manager trainee. And then I was an assistant manager. And then, they fired a manager in the store in Milwaukee. And they said, hey, we want you to be the temporary manager there while we find a manager. And I said, okay. So I went there and I was determined I'm going to run this thing so tight that they make me the permanent manager. And they did. So by the time, I was about 17 by that time, I was running a couple $1 million a year volume restaurant. So that was a real victory, right? Now, obviously, I lied about my age. That isn't the way you'd like it to play out, but it is what it is, right? But that gave me confidence that, okay, I can play by the rules of the system and still get ahead. And that's a big thing to learn in life.
Mm-hmm. And from restaurateur, where then?
I was doing some direct selling. I got it, sponsored into Amway when I was 20. So that would open me up to that whole world. So I was doing some of that and still working in the restaurant. And then I thought, man, I want to own my own restaurant. And I'd made a little bit of money in direct selling. So I took it all and invested in a restaurant with a partner. And when I say all of my money, I mean, it was $11,000. That was my fortune that I had acquired. And we didn't have the money and we lost the restaurant. It got, auctioned off the IRS. But I learned from that. And I did that twice. I had 2 restaurants, a pizza place and then a seafood place, both of which I started without enough money to capital to do and didn't work. But I didn't give up, right? You're this financial survival network, right? I had to survive. So I did what I go to work for someone else, set aside some money. And eventually I became a very successful entrepreneur.
So in other words, you failed your way to success, like Scott Adams says.
Yeah. I mean, it's an old cliche, but there's a lot of truth. People think the opposite of success is failure, but that's not really true because failure is part of the success process, right? Failures along the way causes us to reevaluate, modify our approach, learn new skills, develop a better, stronger character. And that's where that cliche comes into play is, again, just like we said earlier, if you give up and decide you're a victim, okay, you can be a victim the rest of your life. But if you don't give up and you want to keep fighting, then you get better.
Okay, so just because you failed doesn't make you a failure unless you believe you're a failure, right?
Absolutely.
So when you're dealing with young kids now, how do you frame these lessons you've learned to help them get off the bottom of the rung of the ladder?
It's a process. One of the ways I give back is I go and speak at halfway houses and jails to kids in jail and things like that, detention centers. And, I'm usually introduced like, we have a guest speaker today and he's a multimillionaire and you better listen to him. And if you look at him cross-eyed, we're throwing you back in your cell in 2 seconds. And, so they're like crossed arms, crossed legs. Who is this guy? But then I tell my story and they realize, hey, I was where they are and I was able to get out. And the fact that I was able to get out means it's possible for them to get out.
Yeah, but the response is going to be, well, that was then, this is now, times are different. It doesn't, the opportunities that you had, I don't necessarily have or never will.
Listen, if somebody says that, they're choosing to be a victim and I can't help them. I can't reach them, right? At some point, and I did this for the first 30 years of my life. I held on to being a victim. I created a victim identity and I had to justify it. And until somebody makes the decision to let go of that identity, I can't help them. You can't help them. Wayne Dyer, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, there's nobody in the world can help them, right? We can put a message out there and just know that there will be people who will be open to receive it now. And there'll be people that can't process it now, but hopefully they'll be open to receive it later.
Okay. So the message is very strong. And to me, it's very believable, but understanding my circumstance is different. But I think we all reach low points in our lives where really one thing can really make a difference. Like someone told me that a pebble, the most insignificant thing in the world, if you throw it in a river, it can change the course of the river effectively because water flows to the point of least resistance and it can move a river. So you're always trying to throw these pebbles, but you never really know which one's going to do the job, do you?
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Fury Gold Mines is a Canada-focused exploration and development company committed to aggressively growing its scalable, high-grade gold assets with major drill campaigns planned across its 3.5 million ounce portfolio. Fury is led by a management team of proven explorers and developers with a track record of success in advancing and financing project development. Fury Gold Mines is well positioned to create value for investors with low-risk development growth and the potential for a new major discovery. Fury Gold Mines trades on the TSX and NYSE American under the ticker FURY. To learn more, go to furygoldmines.com. That's furygoldmines.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network. The information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Yeah, and you have to recognize, hey, I'm not Neo, I'm not Jesus, I'm not Gandhi, I'm not the savior of the universe. I'm not the guardian of the galaxy. Like me, I never put myself out there as a guru, as a guy who figured it all out and knows everything. I work on myself every day. And the reason I publish a blog on my website, the reason I put out my Power Prosperity podcast is to share what's working for me and what's not working for me. And so I'm honest about both, right? I fought addiction my whole life. I fought money challenges for the first half of my life. I fought all kinds of relationship issues and health challenges. And I just share what's working for me and what's not. And I don't feel like I'm put on the earth to save the world. I feel like, hey, I've been fortunate. I've learned some lessons. I want to share those lessons to people who are open to them. And it's not my job to try and shove them down the throat of people who don't want to hear them from me. I do believe in telling my truth. I've said for a long time, if somebody doesn't unfriend me or unfollow me every day, I'm probably not doing my job because I'm probably telling people what they want to hear, not speaking what I know to be my truth.
Yeah, and that is a problem, right? Because a lot of people out there will tell you what you want to hear, but you really need to hear what you don't want to hear, right?
Makes me crazy. There's just so many authors and coaches and motivational speakers just giving people these platitudes that they want to hear and not dealing with the reality of the real world.
Yeah. And that really is what it comes down to. Self-honesty, right? A lot of the reason why you're a victim is because you lie to yourself constantly. You lie to everybody, right? I'm sure that's the position you were in.
Absolutely. Like if you're an addict because you lie to yourself and you lie to everybody around you, right? You say, well, I'm not really an addict. I just like to have, a nice happy hour. I just like to relax after work. And, I'm just having a couple of screwdrivers, eye openers in the morning. I mean, I get on a plane and I'm in seat 2B and there'll be somebody in seat 2A on a 6:30 flight AM from San Diego, and they'll have 4 screwdrivers before the plane takes off. And I guarantee you, if I said, are you an alcoholic? They'd say, are you crazy? Of course I'm not an alcoholic. Right? I know because I'm an addict. I was an addict, so I know how we lie to ourselves.
Certainly do. It's funny you say that. I was on a flight recently from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa. It's a 35-minute flight. And the guy sitting next to me, he orders up 2 Tito's vodkas. And I don't know if he had a Bloody Mary or what he had there, but he downed those things so quick. It's like 35-minute flight. And you need 2. Now, granted, some people don't like to fly, and you might find it fearful flying. I get that. But still, by the time that stuff takes hold, you're landing already. It's not really going to do you much good. So,
like I said, I have been powerless over an addiction. So I'm not here to judge anyone who is at that space, but I'm here to share my story if it helps them in some way or form.
Yeah, and that's really all you can do is tell stories. That's what we do on podcasts. That's what we do in life. We tell stories, and they're either good stories or bad stories. They're either, powerful or not. And all you can do is repeat your story and hope that it resonates, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So your latest undertakings, you've been on the road doing this for a while. What are you finding nowadays with what's happening in the world? How receptive are people to your message?
I think the world is crazy right now. And I think my message is resonating more than ever. My last book is called Radical Rebirth. And it's about how you can reinvent yourself. And it's become a bestseller in Germany. It was the fastest bestseller the publisher ever printed in Iran in the Farsi edition, a bestseller in Colombia, a bestseller in Mexico. I mean, in languages all over the world. Because I think it's a universal message. And I think COVID and the lockdowns and the quarantines and, 4,000 people a day dying in the US back in last December, people are really ready to reevaluate their life and recognize what really matters right now. And it isn't how many people like your Instagram post or how you can scorch somebody on Facebook. That's just not what it's all about.
I better change my attitude here. I thought I have 5,000 people, 5,000 friends on Facebook. Man, how many more friends do you need in life than that?
Good luck with that.
I love it. But hey, really a message of hope, inspiration. We didn't even get into the divine aspects of your transformation. Personally, I believe that a lot of things that happen in life are divinely guided or inspired, but that's for another day. Randy, people want to find out more about you, connect with you on the web. I guess they go to your site, randygage.com. Is that the best place?
Yeah, that's kind of a Starfleet command site for me. And my blog is on there. You find a link to my podcast, my YouTube channel. I have left all social media, so don't look for me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of those places. I've left them all just because I felt like that wasn't bringing more prosperity into my life. So my website's the best place to find me.
All right. So we're not going to find you on Snapchat then, huh?
That would be no.
No Snap and no Insta for you. And that's probably a better thing. I mean, hey, we could go into a whole diatribe about social media and the way that it can effectively undermine your efforts to transform yourself. Reinvention, I've done it myself career-wise at least 4 or 5 times in my life. Probably have 1 or 2 more reinventions left in me. Reinventing yourself, so important, but really have to put aside your fears and really look to transform yourself from within. And that sounds exactly what you've done. You can get the help from people. You can have all these mentors and everything else. But if you can't find it within yourself to unleash that transformation, you're kind of finished. Randy, it's been a total pleasure, really inspiring. My day will be a happier day after having spoken with you. And if you got a question for Randy, shoot me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. We'll make sure you get an answer. And don't forget, visit the site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com, and take a look at our offerings and sign up for our free newsletter. Randy, been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Peace to everybody out there.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.